The year's strongest storm is cutting a path across East and Southeast Asia. Hong Kong authorities now warning of a serious threat as Super Typhoon Ragasa heads for the city. Officials have suspended all classes for 2 days to ensure student safety. At least 700 flights to and from Hong Kong are expected to be cancelled. For a closer look at this storm, let's speak to Johnny Chan, ISSC chairman of the Asia Pacific Typhoon Collaborative Research Center. Professor, thank you for making the time to join us today. Can we start off with what exactly makes Typhoon Ragasa the world's strongest storm this year?
Well, it's not the world's strongest, but it's the strongest that's going to hit China this year. And the reason why this is the case is that normally when a typhoon forms, it will pick up moisture from the ocean, and it will be disrupted if it hits over land. So, for example, if the typhoon crosses the Philippines and Luzon Island, then it will be disrupted, and by the time it gets in the South China Sea, it will not have enough time to develop as much as what we see today. But this time, Ragasa actually developed east of the Philippines, but it passed through the Luzon Strait without hitting any land. So as a result of that, its structure can be maintained and it can continue to develop. And that's why it can get so strong.
How is it different to recent typhoons that have hit the region?
Well, most of the typhoons that hit the region have actually not developed as much as Ragasa because of the atmospheric conditions that will prevent it from developing as much as that of Ragasa. So it's both the ocean and the atmospheric conditions that are all favorable for developing Ragasa into such a severe storm.
Hong Kong is expected to see serious damage from this typhoon. How has the city adapted to the annual typhoon season?
Well, we've been doing quite good so far. This has actually resulted from in 2018 we had a Super Typhoon Mangkhut that hit that passed the south of Hong Kong and caused a lot of damage. And since then, the government has done a lot of contingency planning in terms of clearing the drainage and make sure that the slopes are safe, and then have floodgates in many places so that when you have the storm surge, you could reduce the amount of flood water that go into the basement or flooding the entire coastal area. So a lot of things have been done in the last few years to reduce the possible damage from flooding and from heavy rain and from the storm surge.
How do you think climate change is, say, rewriting the rules when it comes to extreme weather and more powerful storms like this one? How much worse can we expect it to get?
We can expect to get worse storms in the future because with global warming, you're going to get more moisture in the atmosphere, and then you also have more favorable conditions for developing the typhoons. So with global warming, we expect more severe typhoons that not only hit South China, but in other parts of the world or coastal areas where typhoons are supposed to hit. So we can expect more intense typhoons, and accompanying that, you're going to have heavier rainfall. So we need to be prepared for that.
We do need to be prepared for that. So what kind of measures do cities and countries need to take to better prepare and protect from these powerful storms, heavy rainfall, flooding?
This is a very important question because with more and more cities developing along the coastal areas, what we need to do is to have a long-term planning in terms of how to deal with the damage that's going to be caused by typhoons. So typhoons have three things, right? So you have the winds, you have the rain, and then you have the storm surge. So you need to, for winds, obviously, your buildings have to be resilient to these strong winds. So the building codes have to be written for the stronger winds in the future. And then for flooding, you need to design drainage systems that are capable of draining more water than previously designed. So, and then along the coastal areas, with the storm surge being higher, and also the fact that with global warming, you also have the rising sea level. So the water level along the coastal areas will be a lot higher than previously thought. And as a result of that, you will need to build more higher levees or have some what we call nature-based solutions. So, for example, artificial mangroves and things like that to reduce the wave damage as the typhoon approaches the shore.
Adaptation seems to be really the key to reducing the impact of these storms. But if we look at countries like the Philippines, they've been the hardest hit by recent typhoons. Why are some regions more vulnerable than others?
Well, first of all, you need to see where the storms are most likely to hit. So Philippines, it's facing the Pacific Ocean and in the tropics. So therefore, they have a much higher chance of getting hit by a typhoon, especially intense typhoons. So what they need to do is obviously to have a very good system of addressing the potential damage. So as I said, you need to have all these systems in place, like reducing the wind damage through stronger buildings. And then and of course, you need to have resources to do this. And then for the flooding in the Philippines, obviously you have a lot of rivers and which then will lead to flash flooding. And so the monitoring of these river flooding will be very important, and try to have better dredging of the rivers or the riverbanks being pushed up higher to reduce the overflowing of the flash flood water into these villages and cities and so on. So you need to have a very comprehensive plan to address these issues because they will definitely come up.
How do you think, Professor, countries can use new technologies like AI to help not only predict these storms, but also to help mitigate the impact of them or to reduce the damage that comes with them?
Yeah, there are several ways you can do it. So, for example, AI can help monitor the water level in either cities or the countryside. And so if you can monitor the water levels, then you can have enough warning. So even though you might not be able to save the property, but you can save the people by evacuating the people at the right time. So monitoring the water level will be very important. And AI technology can certainly help in this area. And of course, AI now has been used in looking at the evolution of these storms, predicting where and when they will go, they will hit a certain place, and also the potential amount of rainfall that could hit the area. So I think in the future, you could see more AI technologies helping to monitor and issue warnings for evacuating people.
Thank you, Professor, for sharing your insights with us. We were speaking to Johnny Chan, ISSC Chairman of the Asia Pacific Typhoon Collaborative Research Center.